people support Trump and actually want to stop a coup from happening. There is a coup happening right now, and it's called election fraud. That's what's actually happening. And they definitely don't want to start one. And let's just go through this a little bit. So when we were walking over, there's a building that we passed, and it had this on the side of the building. You can actually see the stoplights right here. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment or religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, of abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government for address of grievances. I had a little trouble reading that. So essentially what this is saying is that the whole point of the Constitution is to prevent this overreach by the establishment. And it is all about peaceably assembling. So the key word there is peaceably. If they can twist this into violence, then they can say, oh, it wasn't peaceful, it was this horrible thing. That's what they did with Black Lives Matter. Do you remember the stories about people they would show up to these protests, these peaceful protests, and then there would be bricks laying around, right? And there would be people that would start throwing bricks. And that was the first time that we've seen massive populist movements like this. Well, I shouldn't say, there's been big populist movements all throughout the past. These started very peaceful, though, and they were massive, and then they kind of degraded into violence. And kind of in hindsight, for me, what I realized is like, oh, it's a game. That's also what happened to me on the 6th. After that, I was like, oh, no matter what you do, this is why it says avoid all appearances of evil, because if you're even close to evil, they can take that and twist it and manipulate it with lies, right? So this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to push out a counter narrative to what they're doing. All right, so let's talk about, one of the things I've heard that people are like, well, Trump gave them a wink and a nod, like he was clearly trying to push them over there. And I want to go through that really quick.
And only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections, but whether or not they stand strong for our country. We're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. Anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong. We have come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity.
So basically the idea was that Trump kind of gave everybody a wink and a nod, and then they all went over and they broke into the building, right? But when you actually look at the timeline, so Trump came to the event late. It was scheduled to start at 11. He started an hour late at 12. And then he didn't actually finish his speech until 1:11 p.m. Now, there's about a 45-minute walk between the two locations. That's what they're saying. I believe Tim and Dad and I did that a little bit faster than 45 minutes. I don't know if I'd say it was, well, in a crowd, it would certainly be 45 minutes, right? I guess we left early, so we were able to walk unimpeded. So that is, and I think, thinking back, it did take them a very long time to get over. Now, Tim and I, we left just minutes into his speech. I think we stayed for about 5 minutes, and then we were like, well, we were too far back. We couldn't really hear anything, so we took off. When we got to the Capitol building, there was already a crowd. There was guys that had jumped over the wall, and they were in that central location already. There was already guys on the towers outside. They hadn't mounted the scaffolding yet, but they were already on the towers. That means they took a lot of land already. There was some plastic fences that had been pushed down. I didn't have time to go look at that. I've got video of this stuff. I don't know if I had video of that. I think I had to turn my camera off because I thought we were leaving. So unfortunately, I don't have that. I think I could maybe find it. But essentially, there had already been walls broken down. Not walls, like flimsy little fencing that had just been knocked over, essentially. And that would be the first line of defense, right? No, it was unguarded. It wasn't there. But there's already people in there. Whoever these people were, there's a handful of people in there. They'd already taken a tower, and they were already going. So these are clearly, they're not at the Trump speech. They're already in there. They had microphones. They were trying to push everybody forward really aggressively with their microphones saying, come on, we need help. Everybody get up here. Everybody get up here. They just kept messaging over and over and over. Rioters who breached the perimeter would have had to leave Trump's speech by 11 a.m. precisely, or sorry, 12 p.m. precisely to make it in time for the break-in. The West Side was breached within 15 minutes, which means that the Capitol was breached over an hour before Trump attendees could have begun to arrive. The Capitol was breached before Trump finished his speech. All right, so I want to jump in here with a little bit more video evidence. So this is Trump at the end of his speech. You'll see it's 1:10 p.m.
We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give, the Democrats are hopeless. They're never voting for anything. Not even one vote. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help, we're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all for being here. This is incredible. Thank you.
All right. So he closes the speech. You can see down at this bottom left-hand corner, we've got 1:11 p.m. Eastern Time. Now let's jump over to the Capitol breach. This is the House was in recess. You can see it's 2:19 p.m. And actually, I'm going to skip back just a little bit so you can catch the actual event. I wonder if I went back too far.
Without objection, the Chair declares the House in recess pursuant to Clause 12B of Rule 1.
All right, so that's the House calling recess. And if I just skip forward a little bit here, you'll see that right here, they cut the feed, and now they're in recess, and it's 2:19 p.m. So you've got basically a 1-hour window in between. You have a minimum of a 35-minute walk. That was when we were completely unrestricted by a massive crowd. It took us 35 minutes to get over there. That's how long it takes walking. So you would expect it to be more like 45 minutes in a big crowd that's kind of milling around. There's people in wheelchairs and stuff. I mean, it's not like this crowd is moving super fast. They're not doing a speed march or anything. The timeline here does not match up. And also, you saw the close of Trump's speech there. That was not an aggressive, go fight them, go burn it down kind of speech, right? We're going to walk over. We're going to give support to courageous, to our weak Republicans to be courageous and bold. So, little context, and now we can get back to the video. So, all of this messaging around Trump forcing people to go over and be crazy is not true. This is propaganda. This is a lie. Now, you can look up these own articles for yourself. I would, when you are looking up information, please use DuckDuckGo or an alternative. Do not use Google. You will not find this kind of stuff in Google. Google has censored all of this information. And if you don't believe me, go watch my other video on the most secure election. I actually do some side-by-side comparisons right there in my video, and I'll show you the difference between Google search results and DuckDuckGo search results. So it's pretty shocking to see.